Hello and welcome to Crusher Talk. I'm your friend Haley Crusher Kane, and I was recently at the Little Red Hen, which is a country dive, or not a dive, a country music hall for dancing, a dance hall that has live music in Seattle, as Dr. Kane and I love to go Texas two-step dancing ever since we had our honeymoon in Austin. And we decided we would go to an advanced two-stepping class to learn some new moves because we've basically been doing the same moves for years and years. And so we thought, let's just learn a few things. How hard could it be? And when I tell you it was confusing and hard, it was confusing and hard. And every single time the teacher would make us, do a new move or whatever, we'd have to switch partners and just go around the circle, and we switch. So by the end of this somewhat strenuous advanced two-stepping class was over, at least I was pretty sweaty and had danced with all these guys, and dancing with all the people was not the problem, because that was fun, but I definitely felt like there was something in between hearing what I was supposed to be doing and actually my feet doing it. Um, and although, eventually we have gotten there, and in fact, we just went and saw Jenny Don't and Jenny Don't and the Spurs, which is a great Portland kind of alt country rockabilly-ish band out of Portland. We just saw them and danced to their music because it's very danceable. And we were remembering how to do these new moves, how to promenade, how to do these new twirls and stuff. Although we figured it out eventually, and we're on our way now, there was a huge trust the process moment, both in terms of me and my dance partner, my life partner, but also me and all the other people in the room. And the agreement was that we were all going to be trusting the process together. And I think that was powerful because every single person I danced with had the same mentality of like, I think I'm doing this right. Am I doing this right? Is this what's supposed to happen? Very trust the process. And we say trust the process so much in life, but it's easier said than done. Right now, we're trusting the process in terms of we are like struggling with this new album release. I feel like albums for us generally come together in a cohesive way where there's a feeling and a concept and a color scheme and a name and all these things, and then the songs lend themselves to the single art, which lends itself to the video, and we're already scheduling all these fun things to do and create videos and do all these things. And this album cycle, for whatever reason, has been a lot of like stop and go, hurry up and wait, and trust the process. Um, and last night we had to have a discussion about what time, what date, specific date, the first single is going to come out. And if we're going to try to, we have our label and publicists who are emailing and doing such great work to help promote the band and these tour dates that we're doing with Screeching Weasel and the Queers coming up. There's actually a new press release they've been sending out and just letting everybody know the tickets are live. Tickets are live. And that's going to be so fun this March and April. But they also need, pretty far in advance to know what the plan is with this album. And, we're talking about, are we going to do a waterfall release, which is kind of a new way to put out music where, I honestly don't understand what a waterfall, I can't describe what it is, but on Spotify, I'm sure some of your artists that you're listening to are doing it where, certain songs from the album come up and some are unavailable. And I think that there is a countdown or something on there too that's supposed to be anticipatory for people and exciting. I don't know. It all seems very stressful to me. And I think we've come to a place where we know what we're going to do, what the date for the first single is, which is looking like April 14th at this point for this new album. But everything else, the art, the concept is like kind of congealing, but kind of not. And, this is the time where it's really easy to turn around and just be like, this sucks. This is bad. Let's throw it out. Let's start over. I mean, that tendency lives within me, the perfectionist in me, which is not very loud these days, but still there's a little tiny perfectionist in me, or a little critic that's like, if you don't know what you're doing now, you're not going to figure it out. But again, we trust the process. We trust the process. And so much about trusting the process is trusting people to do what they do well. I've realized when it comes to music, like, trust, the art person to do the art, trust the drum person to do the drums, trust the mixing guy to do mixing, trust everyone to do what they do well, and trust yourself so that, you can do a good job too, and or at least the best job at that time in your life to your ability. Because it's a moving bar always, right? But I knew I wanted to talk a little bit about trusting the process, and I also want to talk about, let's see if I can pull this up. I had written some thoughts about the stage and what it's like to be on stage, and some of the fears and concerns that come up. And I wanted to talk about some simple mind jujitsu that I've come up with that has really helped me just completely get over any sort of stage nerves. Like, obviously I get excited, and nervousness and excitement and anxiety are all very close cousins of each other. However, I do not freak out. And I'm hoping that this information can help you, whether you are an artist who's going on stage, or perhaps you're doing something else, presenting something in front of a group of people, or maybe you have some sort of craft or artwork that you're putting out that you're like not super comfortable having all eyes on you, or whatnot, or getting married, because a lot of people get freaked out when they're, doing their vows, whatever. I was hoping this would be helpful. So the first thing is that it's like, that helps me with trusting the process and like trusting my people and being okay on stage, is realizing and remembering that it's not all about me. And it's called a band for a reason. So, we're all working together to make everything happen, and we all come together to make that happen. So, no matter what happens on stage, it's a team effort. So, that means like if we fuck up, it's a team effort. If we don't fuck up, that's a team effort, right? We all kind of hold the responsibility for the experience together, and it's not about one person ruining everything. I think a lot of times we put the spotlight on ourselves in a negative way, when really, a lot of things in life are about a group and what the group wants. The power of a group wanting to succeed and do well is so immensely more powerful than, one person feeling like they're going to fuck up. So allow that team kind of positivity and team responsibility, group responsibility, to remind you that it's not all about you. The second thing is kind of related, which is something that my husband says a lot, which is, it's not fun till you fuck up, which could have come in handy during our advanced two-step class, when we were just shocked at how bad we were. We thought we were good at this, but also this was a different kind of two-step. It wasn't Texas style. It was a different kind. So there was some different moves going on, and quick, slow was not cutting it. So, I think the mentality of it's not fun till you fuck up is really helpful. It's sort of like, once you break that seal, the energy on stage just gets better, because you're more real and you've gotten over that hurdle. Nothing horrible has happened. You've reminded yourself that you're human, you're not a robot. It's when you mess up and you focus on that things go really south, and you kind of drag people down with you a little bit. You have to be okay with making mistakes. You're doing something brave and in a live environment, and mistakes will be made, and that's okay. So just remember, like, when the first string I break, or the first chord I get wrong on stage, I usually just think to myself, okay, it's fun, now we can have fun. The seal has been broken, because we were never going to be perfect anyways, right? Okay, the next thing is, at least for the live music environment, it's important to remember that music is very like ephemeral, it's unrepeatable. It's a moment that is there and then it's gone. So that's kind of what makes it great. That's what draws people to see live music, that transcendence. So nobody, as a, as a rule, nobody is thinking about the last verse you just sang and that you forgot a word, because they're in the moment with you. And so it's almost a rejection of the audience in the moment to just be in your head. Um, it's important to remember that these moments go by in a flash, and go with the flow, go with that moment or be dragged, essentially. Okay, so the next thing is, I think for performers, we are sort of like human tuning forks. And although it's not our job to always be okay or good, because we're humans too, it's not really our job to be stronger or better than anyone in the audience. Punk rock has taught me that there should not be that sense of pompousness from the artist. In fact, you're creating something with the audience, like co-creating it. So it's not really nice to think about your co-creator as lesser than you. That rock star mentality is really, I'm allergic to it. I think it's so corny and played out and so unkind, and I don't really feel like it. Uh, I don't know. Does anyone really want the music to be played at them? Does anybody want to be, do you want to kiss someone or do you want to be kissed at? Okay, we've all had that kiss that is someone's just kissing you and you're not kissing back. Or what's another one? When you're wearing when the dress is wearing you, you're not wearing the dress, kind of thing. Um, it's important to not just get into that rock star mode and just start, performing at the audience. So it's not really our job to be better, stronger, faster, cooler than the audience. But I do think, as a kind of the cosmic tuning fork, and tuning that energy in the room, it is our job to be able to be regulated enough in our nervous system to like receive and transmute the energy in the room while holding true to whatever is authentic in the song or like how we're feeling in the moment, because that's going to translate on stage, and that's what we're all there to do. It's like the more truth you can bring into the performance, the better it's going to be for everyone. um, I feel like it sounds really woo woo and hippy dippy California woo woo, essential oils, but I mean, I don't know what else to do to describe why we look to performers and their art, and like, why are we looking to them for, what are we looking to them for? Our guidance, camaraderie, a witness. Because, if you've been to a show where that people are angry about something or happy and the crowd is feeling it all together, that can be really validating. Like, is it because it takes us out of the mundane? Is it entertaining? I mean, all these things are true, but in order to be that tuning fork, you do have to be grounded enough in yourself and in your art first to be able to then take that trip with the audience. So it's kind of an awesome responsibility, and it's not something that I've quite put my finger on. But I think that sort of idea can be translated into the idea of wherever you go, wherever you walk into a room, you know, you are bringing your own energy and you're also holding space for the energy around you. So you have this responsibility, this like energetic hygiene to like come into the room with your own, with and be grounded within yourself and not be jumping out of your own skin, right? Keeping some of your life force inside, and then also being open to what's happening in the room. And when you bring art into the room, then being open to what that is, whether it's music or whether it's a different medium. It's like having another entity in the room with you, right? So I mean, I think playing live, a lot of times the songs and music feel like a distinct separate entity from me and the band and the audience. It's just its own thing, like its own weather system. And I think in like future years, we're going to understand more about how like people's energy does affect the natural world, like in a scientific way. Maybe that makes me crazy, but there's not much else that can account for this feeling of weird, like residue that you might get when somebody walks in the room and they're really, really depressed or really, really angry or super, super joyous. You know, it's not just that we're picking up on people's body language, because of course we are, and that's all part of it. But there's something to do with, you know, how we are embodying ourselves. And performance is so much about harnessing how we embody ourselves. So it sounds like actually I have more to think about here, because as I talk, I'm like, man, I feel like I could go down a rabbit hole here, and I should not be talking about science at this point because, you know, I'm not reading scientific journals. Anyways, that's what I wanted to share with you today. Um, we're struggling with the art and the cohesion of the album at the moment, but I know we were going to figure it out. And we have our band and we have our people. Everybody's coming together to do their part really well right now, and that's all we can have faith in. So until next time, trust the process, sparkle hard, and I'll see you next week.